us ourselves, we're getting a Metaverse fund up and running to invest in the tokens, but also to get it's going to be like a real estate investment trust, but only specifically towards the Metaverse. We're going to start here locally in Northern Ireland and then look for outside investment. But the Metaverse is, as an arena, I think it'll be more valuable than the world that you and I are sitting in right now.
Hi everyone, thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Chatter. Before we get started, I just have a few quick messages. First off, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. It's the best way that you can help us grow. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a review. It's going to help us rank higher and get more and more views and therefore bigger and better guests. Don't forget right now you can pre-order my book, To the Moon, The GameStop Saga. There are still 4 copies that you can get where you can get your name and the message to the apes put in. And if you follow the contest link in the description below, you can win one of 5 free signed copies or $288 worth of Riverside FM for 1 whole year. Finally, I'm currently running a contest where you can win a signed copy of To the Moon, The GameStop Saga, one of 5, or $288 worth of Riverside FM Pro. That's a whole year subscription. Please check out the link in the description below. It's free to enter, and I just want to give something back. Anyway, enjoy the podcast. All right.
What do you think about the central bank digital currencies? I know I talked about them the last time. I was actually invited, funny enough, 2 weeks ago to talk at a climate conference down in the waterfront there. It's W5. And they wanted me to talk about cash versus crypto and CBDCs and where it's leading. And I loved it. Like, just some of the questions we got after it, I woke people up to it, really. People didn't know that CBDCs were even a thing. You know?
Well, right. Well, we are rolling now, just so you know.
Brilliant.
But to talk about, hello everyone, welcome. We're here to talk about crypto.
Yep.
With Johnny McCamley, the founder of CryptoClear. Johnny, welcome back.
Yep, thanks for having me, Josh. Great to be back.
Yeah, no problem. So, actually, let's just start with central bank digital currencies. Like, I don't like them. But, that's just me. We'll get to that. So, what do you think? What is your view on them? And, like, what attracts you, or what do you at least find interesting about them?
Yeah, I think they're coming. There's nothing we can do to stop it. It's the inevitable. That's really what sums it up. It is the inevitable. With China, they're going live in February of next year, which is like 3 months away, 4 months away, give or take, now with their CBDC. I know it was piloted in a very small town in China. It was very successful. The European Union, the UK, America, all, the world leaders, if you like, have said that they're also bringing a CBDC out 2024, 2025. My response to that is no chance. If China, if China do it successfully by February of 2022, without a doubt, everybody else will start. It's not the right turn of phrase, but they'll start running to the fire exit and start planning how to get theirs launched even quicker. I think with CBDCs, it is a massive problem because they could put spend and control on people. For example, Josh and Johnny, you aren't allowed to spend more than £100 a month on bottles of wine or alcohol, or fast food, so that they could tackle, for example, obesity with that. But you should have the freedom, if you want to go and spend, as much money as you want on fast food and alcohol as you wish. But for the government, so it's all about control. The government's obviously come out and said they don't like crypto, they don't like Bitcoin. I think that's very smoke and mirrors, because the technology that they're bringing into the next generation is built on blockchain, but it's closed to people like you and I. If you share your Bitcoin address with me, I can view how much you have, can track your transactions, but in the future, it's only, I don't know, maybe the Bank of England will be able to, I don't know who will have the authority over it. I presume it will be the Bank of England.
Probably.
We'll be able to view our transactions. Of course, the FCA and HMRC will be in there some way, tracking everything for the tax evasion and money laundering. But that's the way the world's going. And, China, for an example, won't want America to see their transactions and vice versa. So they're going to run on private ledgers, and there's going to need to be a bridge to cross them ledgers, which I know we talked about the last time is XRP.
So like the thing that I don't get about the central bank digital currencies, what are they proposing that's different to cash money? And I don't mean like just not even like cash money. What's different like with their CBDC to someone just using, you know, electronic payments with their bank? This is where I don't get the difference, because say with Bitcoin, you've got your proof of work. There's like value there.
Yes.
There's something beyond just this is magic internet money, because like that's their critique, or that's like the mainstream critique of most cryptocurrencies, is like a fly-by-night Ponzi scheme where the value is determined by the creator and you can just be rug pulled at any time. And like that's the picture they paint. But I don't understand how the central bank digital currencies are different to just using electronic payments with like pound sterling, like I would with a PayPal or something.
Yeah, so the main selling point, if you like, about a central bank digital currency will be the instant settlement. So say, for example,
I have that already, you know? Like,
yeah, it's more on the banking side, which you and I wouldn't see in the background. So if I send you, you know, £100 via bank transfer, it's taken out of my account, goes into yours, as you say, instantly. You get that instant settlement. But in the background, that liquidity is actually tied up. It's a nostro and vostro account from bank to bank. Even if we're the same bank, it will be an interbank transfer, so it'll still be tied up. And there's tens of trillions of dollars worth of liquidity every single year that's tied up in these transactions. And of course, for the likes of a JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, you know, that I wouldn't say they wouldn't care about it. They want to unlock that liquidity and put it somewhere else, but it's not that big of a deal for them. But for the smaller money transfer providers, it's massive, because they can take that liquidity, put it into X, Y, Z to improve their business a lot quicker. So to me, that would be the biggest appeal for me for a central bank digital currency. As an investor, of course, I'm looking at it from a different angle than a consumer. Central bank digital currencies I don't like because of the control aspect. I don't like the idea of, like, for example, taxi drivers love cash. You know, without a doubt, you know, there's things you can do as a taxi driver to get away with X, Y, Z. Same as painters, same as anybody gets paid cash in hand. So I do feel sorry for people like that rely on cash in hand, that will then be switched to central bank digital currencies. But it's sort of internet not existing, and then the internet boom, or email coming about. I think it won't be as instant as, you know, the flick of a finger, but I think it'll definitely be pretty swift. They're sort of already warming the public up for it. You know, they're coming out and using CBDC a lot more often. They're coming out addressing what cryptos are a lot more often. So I think by 2025, you know, it'll be CBDCs, I would say, worldwide.
So how do the CBDCs like fix that problem? Because it feels like it's feels like they could deal with that their own without the need for the central. Do you know what I mean? You're saying that
Yes,
the problem is like the
mean.
back end, the liquidity issues, which I get. Like that does make sense, but that just feels like that's their stupid, outdated system that doesn't work. That doesn't seem like it like justifies the central bank digital currency. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean completely. Like, it's the liquidity problem we don't see on the surface, so it shouldn't really concern us. And that is the gist of CBDCs. Like, our world definitely could survive without CBDCs, but governments will never give up control. And when there's anything that threatens them, they will go for their throats. And that's exactly what they're doing, in my opinion, with central bank digital currencies. They're seeing blockchain, they're seeing Bitcoin, all these different cryptos, NFTs, Metaverse, everything. And they're going, how do we control this? And that is central bank digital currencies that can control your spending. They can view your spending. You know, you think targeting's bad now with ads. You know, you say, I don't know, McDonald's, and you open your TikTok or your Instagram, there's an ad on it for McDonald's. It'll be even more crazy once these CBDCs come in, because they'll know every penny you're spending. There's no walking into Starbucks and handing over, you know, £10 for... It's pretty dear in Starbucks, so, you know, maybe just a coffee now, you know, a coffee and a bun.
Inflation.
You know, inflation, you know. But, yeah, like, that's what it is for me with CBDCs. Governments will love it because it's complete control. They have oversight over everything. But right now, there's so many blind spots with, for example, money laundering, tax evasion, where CBDCs is their golden ticket.
Okay. I mean, what you say there about them loving the control and literally going for the jugular of anything that challenges them is so real. I saw the most hilarious fucking tweet this week. About Hillary Clinton was
Yes.
damning Bitcoin and saying the cryptocurrency market needed regulated, and someone went, so she doesn't understand email and now she's an expert in crypto.
Oh, jeez.
Which I mean is a fair point. Like, she played ignorant about the deleted emails, and anyway.
Yeah, now Hillary's an expert in Bitcoin, I think that could be a podcast in itself, Josh, couldn't it? Hillary Clinton's emails, we'll sit and go through them for 4 hours,
Well, no, we can't.
Or no,
that was the point.
Can't. Yes.
She deleted.
Yes.
But anyway.
Yes, discuss it, I meant, sorry, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, it's just I know I spoke to quite a few people who are within that sort of world of like where data is really important and really like protected in terms of like everything has to be there for public protection, and they just said that if it wasn't Hillary Clinton, there would have been serious consequences.
Yes.
But anyway, so to talk a little bit more about you mentioned the metaverse there. It's which is something that Facebook have announced since our last chat. They're becoming Meta, and I talked a little bit about this with Peter McCormack, the King of Bedford, about the metaverse and stuff. So,
Okay.
And hopefully, I'm going to have someone from Decentraland and a digital real estate salesman on the show at some point
Brilliant.
in the future. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. So, like, what was your take just to start on the metaverse thing? Like, what do you make of Mark Zuckerberg's attempt to own the digital world now that he owns enough of the physical one?
Yeah, I always look at stuff from a business or investment standpoint. Just from my perspective on that, it's a genius move. Even if we just look at the likes of Facebook, I think Facebook is slowly but surely dying as a platform. Same as Instagram. I think TikTok's really taken over. WhatsApp is still pretty big. Of course, you've got some competitors like what we use, Telegram. I love using that. But in relation to the metaverse specifically, it was going to come. And it is an absolute genius play because that's the way the world is moving. I know the last time I was on here, I was talking about the job fairs that were in Decentraland back in June of this year. Stuff like that. There's a guy that I know I don't know him, sorry, personally, but he's on LinkedIn, and he posted that his company was able to raise $2.5 million to buy 116 parcels of land on Decentraland near the fashion district. And this is where the world's going. Us ourselves, we're getting a metaverse fund up and running to invest in the tokens, but also to get it's going to be like a real estate investment trust, but only specifically towards the metaverse. We're going to start here locally in Northern Ireland and then look for outside investment. But the metaverse is, as an arena, I think it'll be more valuable than the world that you and I are sitting in right now, which is a big statement to make. But if we just look at the Banksy, for example, that I believe it was 66,000 it was bought for. It was then tokenized in the blockchain, shredded on camera, I believe, or maybe destroyed by fire, and then it's sold for like 3 times its value because it's tokenized.
No way.
Like this stuff is happening. We're actually talking to a guy at the moment that's looking to do it with classic cars like Porsches, and he also has miniature cars. I can't remember the name of them, but they're sort of like Hot Wheels collectible cars. He's doing it with Pokemon cards already. This is where the world is going. And again, it does sound a pretty wacky statement, if you like, but I think that the digital economy will be more valuable than the real economy in the future, if you like.
Holy shit, that's a big
Yeah.
that's a big bomb to drop.
It is. If it had a mic, I would drop it,
Yeah, I don't know if those can take it.
No. No.
So you talked there about your fund and about the tokens you want to invest in. So before I ask about like specific metaverse things that you're investing in, what is your fund? Like, do you want to explain this for people? Because you were laying it out before we started. But for people who don't know what you're about to do, because it seems like maybe you're one of the first in the UK, definitely in Northern Ireland. But
yeah,
do you want to explain what you guys are doing here first?
Yeah, of course. It's really the big thing with the fund for me is to allow anybody to get access to crypto. So you don't have to worry about your private keys, your ledgers, your hardware wallets, all the fun stuff that comes with setting that up, but also the worry of losing it. So it was last October, a guy reached out to us from a Swiss bank and said, "With this product, can we sign all this stuff and you can show us it?" So of course I, signed it all pretty quickly. I was excited to see what it was. And it will be the UK and Europe's first ever crypto ETI product, which will allow the everyday investor, just like you and I, €100 upwards can go on to, for example, their Halifax app, Bank of Ireland app, whatever it happens to be, go to the Stuttgart exchange, one of the biggest exchanges in the world, and invest in CryptoClear ETI. We've got the approval from the Swiss guys. Again, it's good to go in quarter 1 of next year, but we're just building out the product offering, if you like. We're most likely going to start it as a blue chip fund, lower risk, Bitcoin, Ethereum, the real blue chips. And then over time, once that fund is a success, you can then venture out a little and go, this is a mid cap risk, or this is low cap, so it's a bit more riskier. And then on the crypto side, for those of you that are listening, I know you as well, Josh, are obviously heavily involved in crypto. We also have a DeFi fund, which we're working on at the moment. Again, if we get the green light from the right people, it could be launched next week, and it will allow people to put in USDT, stablecoin, Tether, USDC, or really whatever they wanted. You can put in Ethereum if you want, and then it diversifies it, just how I would invest. So really the goal of the funds, to summarize it, is to take what I do now on a personal level, what I've done over the past 6 years, and just put it into an investment product where other people can copy it, emulate it, get involved with it, but it's all above board, regulated, backed by the Swiss, backed by the right people, instead of, because I couldn't tell you so many people have came to me and said, "Can you take this bag of money off me and invest it for me?" I would love to, but I just wouldn't do it, because I'd end up, let's just say, in big trouble.
Yeah.
To sum it up.
Yeah. There's liabilities to consider.
Yeah, just a few, but
But that sounds so mad, man. Like, you guys are the first in the UK and Europe, like the whole continent, and you guys are the first.
Yeah, one of the first. There's a few that are on their platform, which deal with a lot smaller of an assets under management. Where sort of the amount that we're talking about is big numbers. It's numbers that haven't been seen in these ETIs. I know you've Canada, you've the States, you've many other countries out there that are building these ETFs. Mm-hmm. I know Canada's got a lot approved, and America still has to get some approved.
Yeah.
But a lot of them as well, they're futures obviously as well. They're not spot, which with for example our fund, we'll actually be buying the underlying assets as well.
Okay.
In both products, both the ETI product and also the DeFi product, we'll actually be going in with, let's just say, £100,000 and buying the Bitcoin, buying the Ethereum. So it's not a contract for difference, which is what a lot of people complain about these ETFs. They come in, oh yes, a Bitcoin ETF's live, but when you look into it, it's a futures. They're just entering a contract to say, at this date, this will happen, I'll buy or sell, which is no good. You want the ones that buy the underlying asset, which is us.
So how's this work then? So say, are you guys going to go in with, say you get like $100,000 raised, or 100,000 euros or whatever, and you go in and you buy that and you say, okay, so here's what we're going to purchase, like 30% Bitcoin, 30% Ethereum. I don't know what else you'll have in that first fund, maybe Cardano, XRP probably. Dogecoin's maybe for the more risky ones later. But you're going to go in and you're going to buy these with the $100,000. So then what happens when, say in 3 months time, myself or someone else was to log on and go, you know what, I've got 200 extra quid sitting around for and I want to stick it in some crypto, or I want to invest it, but I don't know what. And they come to you. Are they buying a portion of your portfolio of that $100,000, or are they putting the extra 200 quid into it and then you're purchasing with that?
Yeah, so that's the beauty of it. It's open ended, so there's no cap on it per se. The Metaverse Real Estate Investment Trust I was talking a bit about earlier, that will most likely have a cap on it and be a separate company. But in relation to these funds, both the DeFi fund and the Swiss ETI product, they will both be open-ended. So with the Swiss, we need to raise at least €900,000. We've done that. We've got it locked in. And then with our DeFi one as well, just making a couple of calls over the past week or two, it would be stretching into the millions. Would be able to get into that. It's different when push comes to shove. People to tell you they'll put in X, Y, Z mightn't, but I'm pretty sure the majority of them would put in what they've told me to put in, because again, these are the guys that are high net worth individuals who just want to pass me the bag because I'm the expert, in the crypto, and they want to go, you invest this. I don't want to worry about having to put 2% towards mana and sand and 12 towards Bitcoin or whatever. They just want to hand the money over. I take a small percentage and just, a lot of people want to get involved in crypto but be blindfolded, which is very, very strange for me to say that, but it's also a pretty weird phrase to use. But people don't want to stare at the charts all day because it does drive you a bit crazy, especially during times like this where the market drops 10% a day sometimes, and then even sometimes 30%. So with these, with any investor, whether you're putting in, £100 or you're putting in £1 million, majority of people just want to hand the money over to the expert and see it a much greater ROI in 12 months or 3 years. But of course, as we know, a year in crypto is like 10 years in a market. So, a year from now, the market could be in the dumps, or alternatively, a year from now, the market could be at 10 trillion. If only we had a crystal ball and could tell where it's going.
Yeah. It's a difficult one to say. So, but essentially, what you're saying is that then they're just giving you the money and you're investing it in the fractions that you have laid out in your fund. But I still can't believe that no one else has done this, man. It's so cool that you're the first. Yeah. And I love that it's coming from Northern Ireland. It's like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. With the DeFi protocol, there are other ones out there. Just like the Swiss ETI, there are other ones out there. But they're, just to call a spade, they're small fish. They're not managing the sort of money that we could get access to manage. So that's the appeal of this. It's not something where we're managing, $60,000 is massive. But just as an example, there's one on the DeFi protocol which manages 60,000, and the sort of numbers we're looking at are in the millions. So there's obviously a vast difference, with them to investment products.
So is it just is it like who decides then what the portfolio split will be? Like, is it you? Is it like a council of CryptoClear? Or
Yeah, so it'll be the company. It'll be the company, of course, just for purposes of limited liability, it'll be under the company's name. But yeah, it'll just be allocated where it's taken my dollar cost averaging plan, which is 15 assets that I've invested in over the past, I would say, 8 months or so. It used to be around 12, but I added a couple extra. XDC, CeeLo, and Solana were the 3 actually that I added extra. And so it'll just be emulating what I do on a day-to-day basis, or week-to-week, basis with a DCA, putting it into a fund that anybody can dip into and go, you know what, Johnny's performance or CryptoClear's performance has been X amount over the past X amount of months. I would like to diversify as he does, because even it will get easier, but even in something as simple as somebody going in and buying 15 different coins every time they get paid, it's a bit tasking. Some of them you have to buy on different protocols like Uniswap. You're being hit with massive fees, and you're going, is it really worth it? Where if you can just put it into this fund and it does it for you, well, it's the golden ticket, if you like.
Yeah, no, it sounds fantastic. I mean, what you were saying about people, it being difficult to watch the charts all day, like I would recommend to anyone that finds that difficult, hodl GME, hold GameStop for 9 months, and then you will know what pain feels like. Like $4 to $4.80 to $40 to $3.50 to seriously, that's where we've been through. Then we went back down to like 110, we went back to 280, then we went down to like 180, now then we went back up to like 260 2 weeks ago, now we're back at like 200. It's
madness.
But
yeah,
as of yesterday, a whole bunch of, or not a whole bunch, like 2 whose names escape me right now, places have registered the short interest of GameStop at 113%.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been that way since...
No.
Since right before the madness all kicked off.
Yeah,
So
it's amazing, that sort of stuff. Again, I'm not a stock guy. I only invest in 3 stocks in total. For me, I'm more of a crypto guy, but that whole world just fascinates me. It's the sort of thing. It reminds me very much of the meme coins in crypto, but it's more. I think it's definitely more solid. And what I mean by that, there's more of a drive behind it. You have Doge, you have SHIB, you have all these different meme coins, but the GME just has a bit more oomph to it, if you like. I actually really, really love what's happening with it.
oh, the company is about to like. I actually think the company might be about to change the world.
Yeah,
And it sounds like when I say that to people, they look at me like, "What are you fucking talking about, Josh? You've been reading Reddit too much." And I'm like, "No, like, I think they might be about to try." And so, first of all, GameStop have made this massive or are recruiting unbelievable amounts of people for some sort of NFT metaverse related project.
brilliant.
No, like solid official announcement as to what that is, but the speculation is obviously rife. But
Yeah,
what they have alluded to in their shareholders' documents, or their shareholders, I don't know what you call them, yeah, documents, they have said basically that they are prepared to take GameStop off of the New York Stock Exchange and out of the DTCC, which is the basically like the company that handles all the clearing of all the trades. And they said they will take it out if they are unable to fulfill some sort of non-cash dividend that they maybe will do in the future.
yeah,
And all the while they're making weird tweets, and like there's things going on with Loopring who might be minting said NFT dividend, and there's just like, because if they're about to like issue an NFT dividend, it might break the world of finance full stop if they're right
yeah.
about the amount of like the amount of shares that are in circulation. But then they might just move the entire company off of like trading on the stock exchange and make it solely on the blockchain. And they might be like potentially moving a company where the shares are traded on a blockchain.
That's amazing.
But that's the future, man.
It is. It is. There's actually a company called Polymath. They actually recently upgraded their network. That's a token we've been involved in for quite a long time. It got put on Coinbase, I believe it was, and pumped, or maybe that was the par token. There's that many. Sometimes it all sort of blends into one. But basically, what they're trying to do is tokenize stocks. New York Stock Exchange, London Stock Exchange, and as you say, the world is moving that way. Where you could be sitting, at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, maybe Sunday night, depending on how many drinks you've had, with your mates, and you might go, you know what, I want to buy some Tesla. And, there's no restriction on you buying that. You don't have to, create an order for when the market opens. You can just go in and buy and sell it. And, of course, fractionalized shares have been massive over the past couple of years. Trading 212, I'm not affiliated with them or anything, but they have done a fantastic job at doing the fractionalized shares where you can go on and buy a small amount of Tesla, whack it into your ISA. I think they're doing great, great, great things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I still not. I tried to sign up for a trading 212 account January. They're still not accepting new customers.
Are they not? No.
Still.
That's mad.
They stopped it right around the start of this whole GameStop
Yeah.
meme stock thing. And they're still not accepting new customers.
That's
Which I
mad.
just find to be completely insane.
It
Like
is.
people are like more and more people than ever screaming to want to be able to open an account, and they won't. Like they must be.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're preparing for, or how many like people tried to sign up in January. Maybe it was like way too many to handle.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a baffling thing. But to go back to your metaverse fund. First off, what currencies do you think will be traded in the metaverse? Will it just be any crypto, or do you think it will be sort of whoever's metaverse you're in will make you use their tokens, or like how do you think it's going to work?
Yeah, I think like blockchain, the main goals of the metaverse is to be interoperable with each other. So, I can take, a Bored Ape, for example, and sell it on the Bitcoin blockchain. It will get there in the future where every blockchain is interoperable with each other. And just to answer your question, the metaverse, if I'm in Decentraland, I can use Mana, their native currency. I can use Decentral Games, Decentral Ice, Ethereum, There's a couple of other currencies as well you can use.
They take Lightning Network?
No,
Okay.
No.
Any sort of Bitcoin?
no,
Right.
no Bitcoin at all. But I think definitely we're getting there where, for example, with Sandbox, you'll be able to go into Sandbox, spend their token, move your in-game items to Decentraland or to Meta. Again, it'll be really interesting to see what Facebook's almost like a dirty word now to use. It's sort of they're wanting you to use Meta, but it'll be really interesting to see the angle they take on that. But just to answer your question, I think you'll be free to use any currency you want, but there could be some limitation to it. For example, if you go to buy a piece of land on Decentraland, you might only be able to buy it in Ethereum or Mana. But to me, that's extremely unlikely. I think the future's open, decentralized. You'll be able to go in with whatever currency you want, except for the fiat, of course. Nobody wants to. Well, I suppose people want to get rid of their fiat, but
Well, I mean, I had Greg Foss on the show this week who just kept screaming, well, not screaming, but kept saying very forcefully that it was a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah. Fiat is this?
Yeah. He was like, fiat is a Ponzi scheme. We need to stop.
Yeah, some guy in a back room with a printer that he can just press the button on and just prints as much as he wants, and people like you and I pay more for our houses and our shopping.
That's literally what's going on.
Yeah.
That sounds so stupid. But that's exactly what's fucking happening.
Yeah, it does. If you said to somebody, it does sound a bit crazy me saying this, but if you were building a world from scratch and you were putting, the economy in, if you said to somebody, we're going to give you a printer in a back room, you can just press the button and print money whenever you want. It'll devalue everybody else's currency, but it'll help pay our debts off. The world debt, who's the world in debt to? People always joke, is it the aliens, sort of thing. But it is crazy. It is crazy. How are they going to wipe off that debt? By printing more money, which creates more debt, which creates,
I mean, the plan, like,
it's crazy.
The plan isn't to get rid of the debt. The plan is that we never get rid of the debt. The plan is that you're meant to, or the theory that I understood, at least anyway, behind printing shit tons of money, was that you then went and spent it on things that grew the economy. And then that would therefore grow the debt out of significance. So, like, say it's at 100% of GDP, right? The debt. And you go, right, well, we're going to take another 20% and spend it on, like, we're going to make the UK the best public transport infrastructure in the world. Like, fuck all these Germans and their amazing transport network. Like, fuck the Japanese and their bullet trains. Like, we're going to make the best thing.
Yeah.
And they go in and they spend all that money on that. And then by doing that, you're creating shit tons of jobs. You're making loads of, like, new tech. You're pumping loads of money into the economy at the very bottom. And then what's meant to happen is the economy grows, right? And the debt as a percentage of GDP will shrink, because in the post-war period, like, all the money we spent on rebuilding the country and starting the welfare state and had debt from, like, fighting the war.
Yeah.
The debt to GDP ratio was 250%. Right? That's more than double what it is at the minute, as far as I'm aware. So that just didn't go away by nothing. Do you know what I mean? The economy grew and the percentage of debt as a size of the economy shrank. That's the theory. But what happens is, when you just shut down the economy and print a bunch of money and pretend it's going to be fine without, like, growing it, there's no more things upon which people can spend money, and the value of the currency deflates.
Yeah.
Or, sorry, inflates. No, wait. The price of things inflates and the value of the currency deflates. Sorry, confusing myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's basically what happens. Like, that's the theory behind it.
Well, they can spend the money in the digital world now. They can now convert that fiat into Ethereum or Mana or whatever they wish, and go into Decentraland and buy a bunch of land and buy a bunch of hats and clothes for their characters. And there's even, well, the big thing about the Metaverse for me, which again does sound a bit out there, but I believe this is the way we're moving. It is almost creating a new world, if you like. There's going to be opportunities that people only had back in the 1600s, the 1800s, which they're now going to be presented with. For example, property, what would be the right word? People that have property empires, really. The guys that are going in now and buying 200 plots of land on Decentraland, I think will be the future Trumps, if you like, that have the hotel, you know what I'm trying to say, like that sort of thing. And it's even stuff like there will be a time and a place where, for example, an architect will be able to get paid more money in the metaverse than the outside world, because some guy's willing to pay them X amount of money to design a museum or design, because they can't, you know, it's not that they don't know how to do it, but somebody, if somebody could do something better than you, and if you have the money for it, you'll pay them. So if you have an interior designer, an architect that can go into your land in the metaverse and build a casino, you're gonna get them to do it, and they're just based off how much of a difference there is with crypto compared to fiat cash. They're probably going to be paid at least 5x, maybe even more, of what they would be paid for working 9 to 5 in an office, doing stuff on CAD.
Yeah. See, this is what scares me, though, as well. This is what Peter McCormack was freaking me out about.
Okay.
He's like, what if someone can get a job in the metaverse that pays better than the real world, and then their only existence comes out of the metaverse to sleep?
Yeah, and I would agree with them on that. Like, I think in the future, and I'm talking like 2050, maybe it'll happen sooner, because if somebody would have said to me that the likes of Cardano, as an example, would reach $3 by 2021, I would have been like, no chance. It'll be like 2025. But anyway, I think by like 2050, the world you and I are sitting in now will be 99% automated. Robots doing everything, delivering your Domino's pizzas, your taxis will be automated, everything. And there's going to need to be a place where people go to. That will be the metaverse, in my opinion. And you'll only leave the metaverse to sleep, eat, and go to the bathroom. In my opinion,
Get plumbed in.
yeah. In my opinion, that's what's going to happen. And it does. It also scares me. And it will be very, very hard for even somebody like me that goes into the metaverse to make that shift. But the younger generation that's on the iPads from their 4-year-old or 6-year-old, they'll find it even easier. And then the generation below them will find it just like, just a kid growing up today using the internet. It's just part of their life. The metaverse will become part of the next generation's life, where it's just so seamless. It's like a phone in your hand, in my hand. That
still disturbs me.
Yeah, we're getting very disturbing here. Have you ever? I probably mentioned it the last time, but have you ever seen the movie Ready Player One?
Yes.
Ready Player One. If anybody hasn't watched this, listening to this podcast, definitely watch that one night. It's a good movie for one, good story to it, but that is what the metaverse is. That is what the metaverse is. The outside world will be worth less than the in-game world, because all the value's in there. Which does, again, it does seem...
Yeah. I mean, so like the thing that gets me about this is that, like, I'm not sure how people will feel. And it's not that they won't find it cool to go into the metaverse, right?
Yeah.
Because they totally will. It's like all of the technology that we create at the minute, whether it's social media or like, say, like Facebook and Twitter, like the equivalent of your social life, like mirrored in the real world. Like Tinder is the equivalent of like your dating life mirrored in the digital world.
Yes.
And all of these technologies that do this, to me, they're never quite the same as real life. Like if I was to attend a music festival, right? In like either virtually, like say I wanted to say it's on and they have one of those like 360 cams and I could put like the Oculus Rift headsets on, because like I've seen people doing that for like football matches and stuff, which is like brilliant. Where like elderly fans can't make it to the game. So Manchester City, I think, ran a thing where they were getting some
very good. Never knew that.
Yeah, which is a cool idea. Like it lets people who are like elderly and maybe can't make it to the said venue experience something as if they were there. But I'm not sure it's still like as if we were there.
No.
Because I find that like all of these things are a hollow reflection of the reality of like, they're like a pale imitation of the real world. And therefore, will that just make everyone horrendously depressed? Or do you think it's going to be so real that we won't actually know or care?
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Like, I think like obesity and heart disease even now is crazy. Just even here in Northern Ireland, I think it's like 1 in every 2 people, or maybe 3 have like heart disease, and I don't know the statistics for diabetes, but it is crazy. And that's now with people, coming in after work and spending time looking at TV all day, or even myself, like yourself. I can't speak for you, but I would spend like 10 hours a day on a laptop, desktop, which is crazy when you think about it. But the world is moving that way, and the world is going to become more unhealthy on the surface. As you say, depression. Like, if you're not getting out with your mates because you're meeting them in a virtual pub in Decentraland, for an example. But that's not really the goal of Decentraland or any metaverse, to make people just go in completely. I still think it'll lead that way. The goal of social media wasn't to make people wholly addicted to scrolling through Facebook 4 hours a day, but it happens.
Wasn't it?
Well, yeah. In the public's eye, I should have rephrased that. In the public eye, Facebook's goal, or sorry, Meta, or past tense, we're kind of called Facebook. Their goal was obviously not in the public. We're gonna indoctrinate everybody. We're gonna, make everybody hooked.
Yeah.
But in reality, it is in the background. And the metaverse, to me, there's no bad intention with it on the side of Sandbox and Decentraland, but there's always hidden agenda with the private companies such as Facebook. Which, again, there I've said the dirty word again. I'll have to say Meta.
No, call them Facebook. Don't let them get away with their bullshit rebrand. It's just like, because even like when I say, oh well, Meta have done this, even in my head, even though I know it's still Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, right? Even though I know that, I still can't, like, it doesn't elicit the same like anger and hatred of that company in me as it should, because they are fucked up as a company. And Mark Zuckerberg is a very strange, and I hate watching him plead dumb in front of the senators. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's the smartest fucking one in that room. Like, there's no way he's too stupid to answer any of their questions. Like,
he's a genius. And I seen, funny enough, it was maybe just shortly after the announcement was made for Meta, I got, as we all do, you get updates on your phone. And I went into Instagram and it said at the bottom, something by Meta, where before it would have said Facebook. And I was like, they're really pushing this. But I think it's a genius move from a business perspective. And even for where the world's going, like everything's going to Web3, where you own your stuff. You can take it from, you buy a gun in Call of Duty. You can take it into Fortnite. You can take it into Battlefield. You can do whatever you want with it. It's the open economy, if you like, but the world just isn't ready for that right now.
How do you see that sort of thing? Like, so this is another thing that's confused me about the metaverse. It's like, because where we're going with all of this technology, right? And it's highlighted in the way that we've talked about, like, the contrast between central bank digital currencies and like the openness and sort of like freedom of like the metaverse and different cryptocurrencies allowing, like, there's so much possibility. Do you know what I mean? We're talking like simultaneously about the possibility for like excessive control and unbelievable freedom at the same time. And then when we think about things like the metaverse, where you talk about, okay, so you could buy a gun in Call of Duty and take it to Fortnite. It's like, what if Fortnite doesn't have that gun?
Yeah.
Do you know, like, and I get the feeling that like we have to. I don't see how companies become selfless in allowing their things to be used in other ways. Like look at the fight we have about like charging ports.
Yeah.
And that's a bunch of different companies like trying to agree, and eventually we had to get the EU to step in and say, this is how it's going to be, this is the central one. But then we're back to the whole like needing an overarching huge structure to tell us what to do. Like, how do you see this all playing out?
But yes, like where I see the whole world going with that is it does run parallel alongside, as you say, you've got in one pool, if you like, freedom, and in the other pool you've got complete control. But I think the world's like that right now. People believe that they have this freedom, but they are controlled, and it's only going to get worse, if you like. It is only going to get more controlled over time with central bank digital currencies coming in. Like, as we discussed, they'll be able to track every single transaction. Josh sent Johnny, a penny, sort of thing. Like, what was that for? They can track it because there's no cash in hand. But the thing with the metaverse as well, and even just NFTs in general, it's about owning your own property. So, for example, I own a bunch of NFTs that I've bought off OpenSea. I've bought other ones on NBA Top Shot. Currently, right now, I can't take them. We'll just look at the NBA Top Shots. I can't take them and sell them on any other blockchain except for through the marketplace on Flow through NBA Top Shot. So extremely centralized. But I believe in the future, not too far off, a year or two, maybe 5, I'll be able to take them moments and sell them on, for example, let's just say Cardano. The same with OpenSea. I'll be able to buy an NFT on OpenSea with Ethereum and then sell it if I want to on SolSea, which is basically the Solana version of OpenSea, part of the name. But that's the world we're going to move into. And companies actually love that. And the reason for that is, if I buy a Spider-Man poster, big fan of Spider-Man. I know the last time I was here, I called Spider-Man DC. I made sure to correct myself. It's Marvel, so don't get slated. But if I buy a Spider-Man poster, official from Marvel, and sell it to you, Marvel isn't getting a cut of that. There's this app, for example, called Vivi. They bought up a bunch of the licenses for Marvel, Disney, Star Wars, Simpsons, all that sort of stuff, which comes under the umbrella of Disney. And so if I buy an NFT on that platform, sell it to you, you sell it to 100 other people over the next year or whatever, because it's very, very sought after. Disney is getting, let's just say, 7.5% of every single transaction the whole way along for them 100 people, plus you and I originally, me selling it to you. And so that's why businesses will love giving the intellectual property to us, because they can get a cut now. But I completely get your point. If I was Call of Duty and I have let's just think, Call of Duty Zombies is probably one of the most famous things for Call of Duty when they brought out the World of War game.
Mm-hmm.
So
how many days did you lose to that? Like,
too many. Yeah, maybe 30 days playtime on World at War or something. Or I think it was Modern Warfare 2. You could count it. Mine was like 30 odd days, but it's crazy. I'm sure you were the same with it. Yeah, fun times.
I never really got into Modern Warfare 2.
No.
For me, it was Call of Duty 4, and then
classic.
Then
game,
World at War, and then we had Modern Warfare 2, but I don't know. COD 4, that was the peak for me of gaming.
Yeah, COD 4 was a classic game, and even blockchain games that are coming out now, they remind me of me playing the PlayStation 1 games, Spider-Man, Men in Black, PS2, Simpsons Hit and Run. They're very sort of clunky right now.
James Bond Goldfinger, or GoldenEye, sorry.
GoldenEye.
Yeah.
GoldenEye. I always heard of that game, but I never had the pleasure of playing it. I'll have to maybe get it off eBay or something,
Oh man, definitely. That or 007 Nightfire. That was the absolute pinnacle. Like, it was amazing, because you had so many amazing maps where you could play multiplayer on.
But blockchain gaming is amazing. Like, just for example, going back to how many days did you lose in Call of Duty, what you said, and it probably would have been around 30 for me in Modern Warfare 2, like over a year or two, because they actually had a timer on it. You could check as well on the leaderboards. It was almost like a clout thing to say you've played it an extra day or two than your mate, and you're a higher level or lower level, at less gameplay time. But with Axie Infinity, for example, there's guys out in the Philippines that are making more money playing Axie Infinity for 4 hours a day. They then convert that AXS, Axie Infinity shards, into their local currency, or dollar and then their local currency, and they make more money than going to work in an office 9 to 5, and they're playing a video game.
So what are they doing? So right, there's a blockchain game
called Axie Infinity.
Axie Infinity. So they're playing it, getting rewards or something for or like, is it rewards for playing it, or is it like they win prizes within the game by being good at it?
So it's a play to earn model. So just what you said there, it's a two-tiered structure. There's actually guys out there. There's a guy I'll put you on to who runs a company called Crypto Crack Cowboys. Brilliant
that sounds
name.
Amazing.
Brilliant name. Great guy. I'll put you on to him. His name just suddenly escapes me. Aiden I forget his second name, but I'll get him I'll get him your details.
Yeah.
And he's actually built a company where he is an esports manager for these guys out in the Philippines and the countries that are developing. These guys that don't have access to $1,000 to start their Axie account, he would fund them and then take a very small percentage, which is genius. Absolutely genius. Giving these guys access, don't worry about going work in a local cafe or local office 9 to 5. You can play a game 4 hours a day from your laptop, make more money, and sit in the comfort of your own home playing a video game. If somebody would have said to you and I when we were playing Call of Duty, you're playing this, but also you're getting paid in money to play it, you and I would probably still be sitting in our bedrooms, you know, probably long hair, big beard, haven't left when we're about 13. Our mums are passing in the dinners at the bottom of the door going, your dinner's ready, you know, sort of thing. But basically, like, that is, see, even with the metaverse, with Web3, you know, people think it's crazy that there's, like, for example, my granny would think it's crazy that somebody can work out of a laptop and make money. For us, it's going to be a big shift. Even with the gaming thing, for me, I'm still trying to sort of, I understand it, but to me, it's amazing. Crazy is the wrong word to use. It's amazing that people can make more money playing a video game for 4 hours a day than they can working 9 to 5, doing something that they're just doing to pay bills, which is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, all the I can already hear what parents would say about this.
Yeah.
They'd be like, that's not a real job. And it's like, well, you know, you lot broke the economy and got rid of all the real jobs.
Yeah.
So, like, we'll do what we want.
Yeah, it's a sort of thing as well. Like, there was a guy, wasn't it? He was, like, too young to claim the prize for the Fortnite tournament. I think he won, like, 100 grand or something. I can't remember what it was, but he was too young to claim it. And he's earning that sort of money. Like, I know if I had a kid and he was into gaming, I would just let him free reign. You know, if you want to be a gamer, explore it. But I think that's the generation you and I have came from, where I know my parents, like, they were like, you know, get off the PlayStation, you know, do your homework, that's more important. But people like you and I see the opportunities, because they never had the opportunity. Like, my parents, for example, they just never understood the internet. You know, it wasn't relevant to them with their jobs. And you know, with what we're doing, it's so important for us to learn these things, blockchain. So if we did ever have younger cousins or kids, you'd say to them, you know, if you want to be a gamer, be a gamer. You know, your auntie might hit you a slap around the back of the head, but, you know, you push them forward.
If you were smart, you'd be telling them to, like, mint their own meme coins.
Yeah.
And it's just like think of the most, like, ridiculous meme coin, and eventually the internet will pick it up.
Yeah, it's madness. The meme coins have just went crazy. Even it is I thought the market was bad, if you like, when I was last on here. Like, and I mean bad with just like how saturated it is with meme coins. But now there's one popping up like every day. Like, the amount of emails I get saying, "What do you think of this coin that's come out like last week?" There was one I got not too long ago called Rug Muncher. Rug Muncher. And the purpose of the protocol, it actually has a really good use case.
Really?
Like, what the use case of it is. And again, I don't understand the tech, because it's far too small to be on my radar right now for an investment. But the gist of it is to protect people from rug pulls, which is, you know, Rug Muncher. It's taking away the effect of that. But it is so early, the meme coins, and I think many of them, like Doge, SHIB, many other ones, which I'll not name for now, will be blue chip ones that will live alongside these Bitcoins and Ethereums, and, you know, it's a real exciting space.
I mean, I'm not convinced about SHIB. It seems like it's pure memery, and it seems like it was used for a serious pump and dump. Not that I don't think Doge was. But, you know, there's only one cryptocurrency that's actually going to the moon.
Yeah, Doge.
Dogecoin. Thank you, Elon Musk.
SHIB, for me, like, I would have never considered even a few months ago, but I did do like a deep dive into what they're up to. And with SHIB swap, to me, I personally wouldn't use it. I couldn't see, you know, the guys in the suits with the grey hair, the investment bankers using it. But, like, the people like you and I that are, you know, we're the generation coming up. You know, will we use it in the future? I don't have an answer for that. Personally, I wouldn't use it now. I'd use like a Uniswap or something, but it's the future.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see where that goes. So yeah, we got a little derailed here.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the tokens that you guys are going to invest in for the metaverse. Like, well, what are you looking at investing in?
Yeah, so it's a lot of the ones I already currently invest in, have been investing in for the past few years. You've got the likes of Mana, Decentraland, Sand, Sandbox. Star Atlas is a great one as well. That's built on the Solana blockchain. And it really is going for them blue chip NFT metaverse tokens, but also a few thrown in there that I believe will provide tremendous value in the future. It's got the right research, it's got the right backing, but there's no traction yet. Star Atlas would be a fantastic example of that a few months ago. Star Atlas came out via an IDO, which is just basically a repackaged ICO. And so Star Atlas for us was a no-brainer. You know, it was built on Solana, great team, great idea. It has a use case because blockchain gaming hasn't even woken up yet. You have Axie that's come out, but that's about it.
What is Star Atlas? Is it a coin?
Yes, okay. Yes. So Star Atlas is the in-game currency for Atlas. So this is a game built on Solana. I haven't actually went into it myself. I know I've registered for one of the factions. There's 3 factions in the game. I haven't really deep dived into it itself. Again, I'm more of an investor than I would go in and try the technology out, but for me, it's more from an investor standpoint. There's a lot of momentum right now with the metaverse, with gaming, NFTs, and it's sort of like the momentum of Bitcoin in 2015, 2016. People are talking about it. Oh, this is coming up. I think in 5 or 10 years, the likes of Sandbox, Mana, Atlas. If Atlas hits the traction that Mana and Sandbox have been so successful at getting, it'll be worth a small fortune, even a very small investment now. But of course, that's only in the basis of probabilities. You can only do your research.
Yeah, well, I mean, check out what you're investing in, people.
Yeah.
I think it's the best thing we could say here. So
it is.
So I'm curious as to so we've talked about Decentraland as one of the metaverses, and we talked about Meta and Facebook's sort of venture into that. Is there other ones that you're looking at? Is there other metaverses that you're looking at?
Yeah, there's one called Matrix, which of course almost has the perfect name. There's one there. There was actually a land sale on it back in
that doesn't help my fear
November
that we're
time.
Building the Matrix.
Yeah, it doesn't help at all. Yeah, maybe should have kept that one quiet, Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like a fantastic project. Again, it is very, very early. There's one out there as well. The name of it just escapes me. The name of it just escapes me, but you just buy property on it. There's no actual world that you can walk about in.
Why would you buy property in a world you can't walk about in?
So it will eventually gravitate towards that. Okay. It is just so early, but for example, I could hover over my house and decide to buy the land there. But I don't really like them sort of metaverses. I prefer the ones I've actually stayed away from them ones. As of yet, of course, my mind could change in the future. But with the Decentraland, Sandbox, Star Atlas, it's land in a virtual world. It's not, here's where Josh lives. I want to buy Josh's land. Because I just don't know how that would work. I just don't think it would be too attractive is a better way for me to word that. It's attractive for me, for example, to... if we raise money to buy 100 parcels in Decentraland and build a casino, for example, or rent the land out, to me that's attractive for everybody in it. In the world, it's attractive because they can go and use it. But if I buy the land that is essentially over your house, Josh, it's sort of a bit I don't know, it's just a bit weird in a sense, I'd rather put the money into the virtual world, or the other metaverses, I should say.
So when you're in the metaverses and say you do what you said, right? So say you get you've got 100 plots of land in Decentraland, right? First of all, is Decentraland finite? I guess it has to be finite, but is it fixed? Say you get 10 million people who all want to buy property in it. Do they expand? Is there when you have say you have an apartment block or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or you have a building, do you see the physical building with the right dimensions and proportions, or is it a place where you can go in and it could be the TARDIS, and you've bought a phone box, but you go in and it's fucking huge?
Yes.
How do the physics of this world even work?
Yes, so there's only 90,000 parcels of land, and that's it. And just to answer your question on, how does it work, the physics of it, right now, the game is leaps and bounds, miles ahead of when I last went into it, say I went into it a year ago. It's far further ahead. It looks so clean, so professional. It used to be quite blocky.
Yeah,
Sometimes,
that's what I like. That's the stuff I'd seen of it.
yeah,
I guess that was maybe primitive stuff. But
and sometimes the blocky stuff sells. Some people actually like that. The aspect of the character being a lot different than a traditional human, if you like. The way they're structured. But with the buildings, if I'm a certain distance away, I'm not too sure on that distance, but the building won't load until I go so close to it, and then it will start to load in front of me to see. But again, it is getting a lot cleaner, a lot better every day, quicker, with the updates, of course. And just as an example, it was on Saturday. I was in the casino just at a free tournament. They allow you to gamble with free money, which of course is great to win prizes. And there was two guys beside me having a conversation. And because their mics were on, I could overhear their conversation, which to me is a bit insane, because if you were in a regular casino and there was a guy at another table, you'd still be able to hear it. You know what I mean? But it also, I've probably talked to a few people in it, very, very close. Not like that, but there was a guy on it once that brought me to see his land in it. Well, there wasn't anything on it. He just wanted me to see his land. But it is like I think we'll be doing this podcast in the metaverse in 5 years.
so you're telling me I shouldn't build a studio because we just make a virtual one?
Yeah, like even the podcast I was in this morning, like I was saying to that guy, like because his podcast is specifically crypto, if he was to buy a piece of land in Decentraland, he can have it. So say he buys another plot of land beside it and puts a board on it that says podcast is every 10 p.m. UK time, whatever that is, everywhere else around the world. People go, what's this about? He has it on. We're going to talk about the future of the metaverse. People are like, oh, I'm in the metaverse. I'd like to learn more. As soon as they set foot on his land, the podcast start playing. Boom. Straight away. Instant. We could be doing this live in Decentraland, and as soon as somebody walks onto your land, boom. Instant. They're part of this conversation, which to me is amazing. I love that.
We could have viewing parties, so we could screen it in Decentraland,
Yeah.
without needing to actually be in the virtual. Not that it wouldn't be cool, right,
Yeah.
to do an episode in the metaverse, because that would be fucking cool.
Yeah,
man.
it would be.
But I can't sit there with my guest and because the plan is in the future to have a nice drinks cabinet, some beer on tap, cigars, joints, whatever people want in the studio, because I want to make it like a place where people can come and relax and fucking
Chill out,
talk
yeah.
and chill out. So I think I'd still prefer the real world for conversations.
And just on that, when I was, I don't know how many months ago it was, but again, I was at the casino. Again, I don't gamble with real money. I just use the free money, just as a disclaimer.
Well, as a crypto investor,
yeah,
that's just
yeah,
gambling.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
yeah. But yeah, like when I was in the casino that night, there was a DJ playing, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go and check this out. Like, does he have a character? Like, what way does it work? And it was literally a screen, and he's doing his DJ set, and you can watch it. And I clicked on it and was able to click through. It sent me to his Instagram, which was his go-to page he wanted to promote. I sent him a follow request and sent him a message and says, I'm listening to your set in Decentraland. Can you shout my name out? And he did. He shouted it out.
No way.
And it was amazing. It was amazing. I actually forget his name, but I still follow him on Instagram. I'll have to get it for you after. But basically what I'm trying to say is you could, for example, either own or rent a piece of land, get your podcast on there, and like the guy's podcast this morning, specifically on crypto, that would, to me, people would go to that like selling hotcakes. They'd be all over it. If he's talking about, I don't know, our weekly review on what happened in the market this week, you're going to get so many people dipping into that. That's something we'll be exploring in the future, doing that, running these events in Decentraland, because it's a market. The beautiful thing about it is it's an untapped market completely. Nobody else has access to it unless you're the 1% of 1% switched on to this thing.
Right.
So
How do we do this? Like, can we say that the next time that we have a conversation, we're going to try and do it in Decentraland?
yeah, there's means and ways we could get it set up. We could get it set up.
Because I'm very excited to try this idea. It sounds fascinating.
You let me know for the next one, and I'll get it set up.
How would it work? So say we want to do it in Decentraland. Like, can we Like, do you have a spot? How do we rent one? Like, how does that work? How do you go about renting a digital room?
Yes, so there's actually firms out there. I can't remember the name of the firm, but there's one called Proppy, which is doing digital real estate, or sorry, not digital real estate, real world real estate, selling that on the blockchain. They sold the first one in Germany, I believe, back in May of this year.
I thought it was in. Stay with that. Keep talking.
Or maybe it was maybe it was over the summer or something, but it was definitely recently anyway. But with that, there is companies out there that you can go to and you can rent virtual land. So, for example, that they're basically a digital real estate broker, give or take.
Right.
You know, which is really, really crazy because, you know, where we are in Belfast, you know, like if you walk up the Lisburn Road, for example, you'd probably need about 50 hands to count the amount of real estate guys there are on that road, selling houses and insurance companies and all this stuff. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But there's means and ways. You know, we could have our next conversation in the metaverse, which would be pretty cool. You know,
be very cool.
Pretty cool. Get your own podcast studio set up. Museums will be massive in the metaverse. So, for example, I can go to. Oh, there we go. Where is it up there? Back in July, actually.
Hang on.
I was a bit ahead.
Yeah. Let me get that up on the podcast here. So
there we go. What was Matthew wrote that as well? Brilliant.
Yeah, it was. Shout out to Matthew.
Yeah, shout out to Matthew.
And this is like, I love the fact that I can bring this is up on the gist .co.uk. So yeah, so it was in Kiev, Ukraine.
Oh, Kiev, Ukraine.
27-hour bidding war. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, there we go. Where's Proppy and Claire?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well, there you go. So that's the answer to that question. It was in Kiev. But the point remains, let's set this up. I really want to make that happen. That would be such a cool, even as just like a fun little experiment.
Yeah, you could say you've done it. Even, you know, it's something you could say that you're like, I've done a podcast in the metaverse, and people are like, what? You know, explain that to
we
me.
actually did, right? So
yeah.
So we can like rent a digital room, and then how would it work? Broadcasting. I'm sure we could figure out some way to stream it.
It would completely be doable. Like, just as an example, like if
we'd have to make characters.
You can make characters. I've been to events, for example, where they've put a stage on the land, and the two guys or the three guys or whatever, the characters go onto the stage and they'll just talk. People will listen. They'll stand there and listen. Or I've been to other ones, like the DJ one, for example, where it's a screen. But there's definitely a way to do it. Like museums, for example. If I go into a museum on Decentraland, I can simply click on the piece of art on the wall. It goes, you know, do you really want to go off to Decentraland and visit this external link? All the stuff we're used to. You do it, and you can buy that NFT off OpenSea. So if you're like an NFT collector with, let's say, $10 million worth of NFTs, you know, buy a couple of pieces of land and stick it beside the casino district, the people with the money in there gambling their massive money. Because there is some guys, I think the leaderboard in Decentraland is, it's big money. Like it's millions of DAI, which is digital dollar, basically. You know, a stable coin, not a digital dollar, shouldn't say that, but a stable coin. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, the Federal Reserve would be onto me.
Calling it a digital dollar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Well, I mean, the Fed have got their own problems at the minute.
Yeah. That'd be the least of their worries.
Yeah. I mean, they better start that money printer up again.
I know.
Part of me wants them to do it for the inflation so that Bitcoin continues to go up.
Yeah, and I think Bitcoin, like even Plan B's model, it is scarily accurate. Just how crazy that is. Like, I think it's 100K or something like that by Christmas.
That was their prediction.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if it hits it. I think definitely. I know the last time I was bringing it up, like I am a long-term investor. Like I don't really plan to take any of my long-term holdings out till I'm 30, which is 7 years from now. But with the likes of Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin will hit 1 million way before then per Bitcoin. The likes of Ethereum has a lot of competition at the moment, but it's healthy competition. You know, it's not something that Ethereum holders like myself are scared of. There's Solana, Cardano, Polkadot, which I invest in all of them. I think competition is healthy, especially if you're an investor. You know, it's different if you're all in.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't be all in. You should never be 100% in Ethereum because you're over leveraging yourself, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you should never be, Except on GME, that's the only thing to go all in on.
Yeah.
GameStop people. No.
Well,
Even I'm not all in on that.
yeah.
I have Bitcoin and other cryptos. But
Just out of curiosity, what would your position size be on GME for the
GameStop,
portfolio, percentage wise?
it's about 40%,
40%.
something like that, maybe more.
Yeah, that's good though, because you're confident in it.
Oh
you
yeah.
know?
I
Yeah.
mean, even if the crazy thing doesn't play out, like long term, that company is gonna be fucking sweet. Like
Yeah.
the guy who's chairman of the board, who they brought in last year, who didn't even bring him in. He bought like massive amounts of the company and then sort of like has slowly like taken over, and put his own people in positions. Like they've got rid of all the debt of the company. They're sitting on,
Okay.
well, probably not anymore because they've spent some of it because they've been hiring people, but they were sitting on $1.7 billion to invest.
Yeah.
You've just got the brand new consoles have come out. The gaming industry continues to grow. They still own nearly all their locations, and they're doing this thing with the metaverse stuff, and they're hiring like laundry lists of massive, like huge scalps of people in the tech world, like innumerable ex Google and Amazon executives and like people in charge of like fulfillment and everything. Like they are revolutionizing that company. And yeah, which is why I don't consider it a meme stock, not like
Yeah.
any of the other ridiculous ones.
No. And Mr. Beast as well helped you out. I think it was, I don't know how long ago it was, but I'm more than sure I seen he uploaded a video saying buying the whole GMEs. He went into GameStop and bought like 5 stores worth of stuff or something. I know he recently done that video on Squid Games, which has just went crazy on the internet. Like I watched the whole video; it was unbelievable. But there's so much power behind. I sort of refer to them as like community-driven tokens, community-driven stocks, if you like. They're not traditional investment vehicles, if you like, but like right now. But in
No.
the future, I think that definitely will be. Like I think GME, Doge, SHIB are here to stay as much as
Yeah, things that are driven by the communities that like them. Yeah, well, I guess we'll see how it goes. But
yeah.
so wrapping up, we want predictions.
Okay.
What's coming for?
Yep.
Yeah, well, what should be people be looking at? Like, so we got your fund coming in January, which is awesome. Like, I'm very, very, very excited for you guys for that.
Thanks. Brilliant.
Congratulations on getting
Yeah.
approved.
Thanks.
So apart from that, like, what should people be looking for in the crypto space in the next year? Like predictions for 2022.
Yeah, I think with China planning to go live with their CBDCs in February of next year, I don't think there's no slowing down in the space in my opinion. Of course, this is just in the basis of probabilities. As we know with crypto, you can go to bed one night, wake up the next night, and it's down 30%. But there's just too much. Not too much. There's never enough, but there's a lot of smart money in it right now. 2017, 2018, it was a lot of retail players, which I'm a retail player. But the guys that are institutions that are putting in the big money, even them now, when people say institutions are in the market, it's really strong. That's sort of like a double-edged sword because it is true institutions are now getting in, but it's such a small fraction of institutions and they're allocating such a small amount. So what I think people should keep an eye out for is the blue chips. For now, I would stick to the blue chips, the likes of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, XRP, Polkadot, the ones that are more solidified in the space because there's a lot of tokens out there that haven't weathered the storm of a bear market. A bear market mightn't come. For all we know, crypto could act like the stock market. There's too much money in it now, and it could pump until 2030 and just go crazy. Of course, would prefer that. That would be very, very good.
No, I want one more opportunity to buy the dip.
One more opportunity. Yeah, well, suppose I wouldn't pass that one up either. You know, if Bitcoin hits below 30K, I'll be swooping in with quite a bit, you know.
Yeah,
But yeah, like for people to keep an eye out, it's just sit back and watch the space. But if you're interested in getting into crypto, just stick like £10 on Coinbase or something, just to dip your toe in the water, or £10 into our DeFi fund, you know. But that's that's sort of the stage after, because you need to have a bit of expertise with that to get access to it, because you have to send a stable coin or Ethereum. But in relation to our Swiss ETI product. Anybody could invest in that. Somebody with no experience in crypto could log into their online banking and invest as little as €100, which of course is a lot more accessible than the 1,000 staple. Or as you and I know, sometimes you go to these funds and you have to be a high net worth individual. You have to put in at least 100k, 50k sometimes, and to the average person, that's just not. They're not going to get into crypto through that vehicle. We're providing the opportunity for it, so it's exciting. I love it.
Yeah, exciting times for the space. Links for everything will be in the description below.
Brilliant.
But yeah, Johnny, thanks very much, man.
Brilliant, Josh. Thanks very much. Real pleasure. Thanks again.
Yeah. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of the podcast. If you want to leave us a comment, that would be awesome. Please like, share, subscribe, and if you're listening on Apple, please leave us a review. Until next time, thanks for listening.